It's a sit-down chat video.
What?
Welcome. I wanted to start doing more like sit-down chat videos because like it's like a cool thing to like talk to people or whatever stuff, and like to have this channel which has like no real direction be more than just makeup because like reasons, you know, people are more than makeup. So I figured I would start talking about more like trans stuff as a trans person. It makes sense to like have these discussions on this channel, and I can like talk about me, my experiences, whatever, life, my thoughts, I guess, whenever I feel like it. Stuff. Today I'm gonna be talking about passing and like stuff that goes around that, I guess. Passing in itself is really a problematic concept where cis people are granting you validity and the illusion of respect based on if you can pass as cis or not, basically, and how willing you are to assimilate really is like the whole concept, and how well you fit kind of beauty standards which are typically in Eurocentric able-bodied standards of beauty, which don't need to. So with that, like the whole concept of passing and not passing, that whole ideology in itself is really problematic, and it assumes that all trans people want to pass, and that's the only way to be a trans person, and that's the only direction and visual that you will ever get is wanting to be cis. And that's not all trans people want to be cis. Not all trans people want to, you know, look and fit in to your typical cis het kind of ideals of beauty. That's just how it is. So with that out of the way, passing is a really weird thing, and it's like a strange place to be in, I guess, as someone who identifies as genderqueer, non-binary. In public and stuff, I typically pass as female. Like most people just read me as woman, most of the time referred to as she. It's like really rare that I'm not. And that has a lot to do with the way I present as a trans feminine person, as well as like body shapes and stuff. So like it's a weird place to be in, but I typically pass, and I feel like I've been passing more and more, which is weird because I'm not specifically trying to do anything. I'm just presenting however I wish because I put on things that I like, things that make me feel good in my body, etc., etc., and that's about it. And these are typically considered feminine because like it's femininity, it's a great thing. So with that and passing, I have to like question all of my style choices. Basically, it's a weird place where I already overanalyze everything about me in my whole life forever and infinity. It's me, that's what I do, anxiety stuff. But with passing more and more, I have to like look at everything I do and question, are these style changes that I've been making over time, me deciding to grow back in my eyebrows to be more natural, falling into more like natural types of makeup and presenting, wearing more dresses and stuff, growing out my hair, which is a mess that we're not talking about. Are these all like my own organic thoughts and choices, or is it like a subconscious decision to be considered more passing, to be more passable? And I have to like question everything all the time, and it's just a weird place to be in. It's like this year, 2017, I've been wearing more dresses and I've come into more comfort with my body, but how much of that is in relationship to being more passable, you know? It's like it's a time, and I feel like the majority of my like fashion changes with wearing more skirts and dresses, bralettes as shirts, you know, just boobs on display. I feel like most of that is organic to me, and it's things that would have happened anyway. Like I feel like it's natural evolution of me for the most part, but then I'm still like, I don't know how much of that is like subconscious decisions based on the world and society that we live in, and definitely noticing the different ways that I'm treated based on how passing I am. I notice that I don't get treated as badly when I am more passable and, you know, whatever. Like that concept of lately in public, I feel like I'm treated better than say last year, the year before, when I wasn't wearing as much women's clothing. I wasn't wearing dresses. I wore makeup. It was a different style of makeup though, and I wore heels, but I didn't wear them all the time, and nothing was like form-fitting, so nothing showed off my body and like my shape. And like back to makeup, like I didn't have eyebrows, so I was like full-time alien. It was considered really weird, especially for like where I currently live. I was definitely treated a lot worse by the public, and that's only the stuff I noticed because over a lifetime of not being treated well by the public, as a coping mechanism, I learned to just like look through people, so I don't even notice all of the harassment and looks and remarks and giggles and people following you. I don't notice all of that anymore because I just like look through people. Like I will be in a store, I will stare through you because I don't need to acknowledge acknowledge your presence because I pretty much already know what's gonna happen. I already know the interaction, so like I don't need it. And that's just what happens over time. Like that was from childhood, teen years, it just is. So like the stuff that I actually did notice, which was quite a bit, like there's so much more that I just didn't notice because I would just stare through people and like block it out, and I'm like, I'm in a bubble. But like lately I've noticed that that's not as much of a thing. I get, you know, stares and remarks or whatever and like looks, but now it's less directed as like, what is that, as much as it's more, she is fat, she's Asian, she's different, white supremacy. So like gives you a dirty look. The dirty look means you're not white and you're not thin. More is what I have been picking up on and noticing rather than what is that. So like it's just like a weird time all around. And then the relationship between safety and passing, which is very extreme and noticeable. So like the more passing you are, the more safe you are in the majority of time and experiences. If you typically pass someone who is assigned male at birth, you typically pass as female rather than a boy in a dress or a boy in makeup or whatever, you're gonna be safer off than not. Look around at all the trans people, and specifically trans women of color, who are attacked and murdered constantly. It's not a safe situation. It's not a good time, especially where I live. I live in white supremacy loves this place. That's a great title. They should probably use that as their slogan. Like, I live in a gross place in the South. It's a mess. It's not a safe situation. It's cute. And that kind of ties back to the like, are these my own decisions or are these subconscious decisions based on safety? It's like, am I making myself more palatable and passable for safety, or just because that's the place I'm in right now? And that's like a weird conversation I have with yourself. Now I'm having with the camera and other people, but it's a weird situation. And that's also weird in the fact that like I do feel more comfortable in my body and my skin and my existence now that I am considered more passable. But then that brings up the question of, is that just because I don't have to deal with the additional external harassment of people clocking you all the time? Like, is that gonna add to the comfort because that removes a layer of anxiety and thoughts on top of everything else that's already there all the time? It's like a lot of questions, and like I don't know if there's like a lot of answers. And PS, as a trans person, being considered passing or passable is definitely a privilege, and it's not something that all trans people want and all non-binary people want, but it's definitely a privilege in the fact that you typically are in a slightly safer place until someone clocks you or until someone finds out and they think that you're tricking them, which is a constant trash topic, speaking point that is brought up. So just overall, it's a lot. I guess it's just like really weird to like sit back and think about the way in which your public safety and the relation between that and the way you're presenting and the way that you're whatever can like really affect everything that's happening around you, and how your safety can be taken away just within someone like clocking you, saying the wrong thing, whatever. It's so up in the air. All you ever have is the air of safety. You only ever have the illusion of safety because that's the society we live in. It's, you know, misogyny at its core, and it's just like really cute. For example, I'm about to travel, and by the time this video is edited and up, I'm either where I'm traveling to or I'm already back from there. So with that, I get the added benefit of having to think about how well I pass and what that's going to mean for my safety and the safety of those I'm around, at any place where I stop, the place where I'm going, anywhere, the way I'm presenting, low-key feeling like I need to have a full face of makeup on the entire time. Like, just how messed up it is that I have to constantly examine safety in its relation to if I'm passable to people. Even if it's not always a conscious thought process, it's always there. My safety with passing and going to a place I've never been before, with traveling through places that are known to not be good for trans people and people of color. It's not safe. I guess that's just what this boils down to, is like safety. And with various trans issues in the news lately, with the transgender ban on the military, whole other topic stuff. There's just a lot happening, and there's a lot of weird focus that gets put on trans people and tokenizing trans people and just using them as a plot but not actually caring about trans people. Like when the ban thing broke and how everyone was freaking out, but the same people who were like flipping out and screaming about this don't care about actual trans people and don't care about trans people being murdered. They don't care about trans people being harassed or assaulted. Like, you don't actually care. So like I figured I would just start talking about more trans related topics, you know, as it relates to me as a trans person. and my existence, my life, and where I'm at. So hopefully this can be edited into a consistent thought and it's not just kind of like jumping around talking about the umbrella of passing and stuff, which there's way more to even talk about. It's not like this is a new discussion by any means, and there's definitely a lot more that can be spoken about. So yeah, let me know if there's any kind of other things you would want me to talk about in any sit down videos. The concept is that I want to do more of these, just in general, talk about things, because put your voice out there. And yeah, we come in peace. Subscribe for new videos whenever they get posted. Social media crap in the description. Honestly, the world's just a mess. Like,